overlooking the Toms River. It's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Good Friday. Good Friday. Good Friday. Anyway, it is 5:34. It is 59 degrees. Oh, it's gorgeous. Going to get to 72 today, Friday, March 25th. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310, News Talk Radio, streaming live on the Radio Pup app, and, of course, at WOBMAM.com, 732-505-1160 if you want to join our conversation. I have good news and I have bad news. I'll start with the bad news. Everybody likes the bad news first because everybody wants to end with the good news so they can feel good and move along, floating through life in a positive manner. So the bad news is today is headlines and a lot of talking from me. It's a lot of me today, right? We're going to talk about kind of our weekend review, our current events, things that we've touched on, things that are coming up, and that's your bad news. I just want to apologize for that because if you tuned in because you love to hear all of our super interesting guests, you're going to be half disappointed today. Half. Because we usually have two guests. Today, though, we have one co-host. And that is Father Scott Shaffer from St. Joseph's here in Toms River. Good morning, Father Scott.
Good morning, Jeremy.
I am so happy to see you this morning. You look, Father Scott, there are some people that when they walk into a room, you kind of smile, not in an awkward way, but just because you're like, this person is positive and you enjoy seeing them and they you just get that feeling like, that's really cool that they're here with me. And you're one of those people for me, Father Scott. So I'm happy to see you this morning.
Well, that's very nice. And I do like most people, so it's a good thing.
Right. That was a little bit ambiguous, by the way. I'm not sure if you were. I don't know if I fell into the most people category or not. Because usually when you make a glowing, thing where you say I really enjoy your company, then I think most people would say, oh, that's great because I really like hanging out with you too. But that's not where you went there.
Well, I think, how long have we known each other now? Maybe 2 or 3 years?
Yes.
And I think the first time we met was at Ocean County College graduation.
Yes.
And somebody made the mistake of putting the two of us together in line and on the dais.
Yes.
And we misbehaved and found that we had a common, slightly warped sense of humor.
Yes, slightly warped. I remember what I tell people is that you and I spent much of the afternoon commenting on shoes, right? I think there were a lot of shoes that we were looking at.
Right. Yeah. College graduates,
yes.
and
Yes.
Of course we kept the custody of the eyes, and we kept our eyes down,
right?
And it was all good.
Exactly. That's exactly how I spin the story when I tell it. Yeah. But I thought that today, I want to, in the spirit of full transparency, originally Good Friday is a company holiday, right, Zach? Good morning, Zach.
Yes. Good morning.
I'm not going to lie, Zach. It's not typical that we have someone here at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm used to just saying good morning, Zach, and then you and I commiserate about the earliness of the hour, and then
I understand.
Yeah, but Father Scott is between us.
Yes.
Not he's literally between us, and so good morning, Zach.
Good morning.
All right, good. So anyway, in the spirit of full transparency, this is a company holiday. So for obvious reasons, it's a Good Friday.
Exactly.
So the rest of the office is off. They're not here. They won't be here. Not that they're here at 5:30 anyway. Right. I was told early in the week, hey, or maybe last week, hey, look, it's really great. You're off on Good Friday, which I was like, hey, that's cool. I don't mind sleeping till a reasonable hour.
Right.
And especially because last night was a big basketball night, and I don't mind staying up late and watching basketball and then sleeping in. And then, I got that email that you get from your boss. Now your boss is different than my boss in this regard. 'Cause
Yeah, in a way.
Your boss told you were working today no matter what, Father Scott, right? Because it's Good Friday.
Exactly.
My boss sent the note that said, I sent it to me and also to Zach that said, hey, we know it's Good Friday and we know it's a company holiday, but it's also the second day of the ratings period, whatever that means. I'm not really hip to this lingo. And so, you make your own choice. So I did what I thought the right thing was, and we're here. Oh, by the way, let's see. Sean and Sue will be there. Lou and Liz will be in. The other shows are up. But, if you guys don't want to come in, no problem. Don't worry about it. So I thought I was going to, Zach and I, we caucused, and we decided the right thing to do was to come in. So here we are, and it's Good Friday. And I thought, this is very odd that as a Jew, that I'm going to do the Good Friday show. I don't know that I could do it justice.
Well, it's programming genius, Good Friday and who you're going to have in. The priest is doing nothing on Good Friday, right?
Right.
And so, no, I was surprised when I got the call and the timing, but then it seemed to make a little bit of sense. And it is early.
Yeah. It is. Now, so today we're going to spend some time. I really would like to dive into the essence of Easter, Good Friday, Holy Thursday. Now, what is your schedule the rest of the day? Like what? Because I'm going to go home. I'm probably going to take a 2-hour nap, and then I'm taking the family to Washington for the weekend and beyond. What does your day look like today?
Well, Good Friday is smack dab in the middle of something that we call the sacred Triduum, which is the Holy 3 days. Okay. And which is Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Holy Saturday. The rest of my day is I might go back and take a little nap after this, and because I didn't sleep a whole lot last night. I get nervous with these big events.
Yes.
And you make me nervous.
Oh, well, I understand.
No, I'm only kidding. So, but today I'll go back and I have to get my thoughts together. We have a beautiful service at 3:00 this afternoon, a lengthy service, and you have to kind of prepare for that. We should have a full house, maybe 1,000 people there.
Wow!
At the service at 3:00, and we spend time in prayer. And today's a day of fasting and abstinence. So I'll only eat one full meal today, and I won't be eating any meat. Unlike what happened to me a little while ago, I told the people at church, I was asking them how their Lent was going.
Right.
Because traditionally during Lent we give something up, and
right.
we try to do good things, and I shared with them what happened. I had gotten up the first Friday in Lent. I had gotten up and said the early morning mass and did a little bit of work in the rectory, and then I had a funeral mass. I get done the funeral mass and I go to the cemetery, our cemetery, St. Joe's, and I take care of the burial.
Right.
And I'm starving. I hadn't eaten anything. I have to keep my weight up.
Sure, I understand. I'm with you, by the way.
Yeah. So I'm coming from the cemetery. I get to the light at 37, and I'm saying, I'm really hungry. I know that there's nothing in the kitchen. What am I going to do? So roast beef and provolone.
Sure.
Sub sandwich from the sub shop right there, So my car turns over that way. I go in. The guy recognizes me as I'm giving my order. He knows me.
Yeah.
Not that I go there a whole lot, but
right.
He's taking the order, and he keeps looking up at me. Finally, he says to me, is this order for you?
Right.
I look around. I'm saying,
yeah,
I'm the only one here, and just keep taking my order,
Yeah.
And he says, are you going to eat it? I'm thinking, this guy's a little off.
Right.
I said, yeah, go.
Right, yeah.
And then he just put his hands up and he says, I was just asking, Father, with you being a priest and Friday and Lent.
Oh.
So right away we said, stop the presses, stop the sub, So it was tuna fish.
On that note, we have so many stories. Like, I'm telling you what. So there you go. Even Father Scott can forget. There you go. Don't you already feel better if you're listening on the other side that you've probably forgotten it's Lent 12 times already? We'll be right back.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin wherever you go. Download the Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin here, Father Scott Shaffer, St. Joseph's Parish here in Toms River, and Donovan Catholic, the Griffins. Right? Is that
exactly right?
Yeah, the Donovan. So, I've been fascinated. I'm not gonna lie. I've been fascinated by the Twitter and now media late night battle between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. And I'm going to start by saying, I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I've been considering whether I wanted to say this or not because I feel like it's controversial. I feel like people are going to say that I'm judgmental. Maybe I'm a little wishy-washy on my feelings, but I want to say it, and I'm going to get it out there. I believe that Melania Trump is better looking than Heidi Cruz. I'm just saying it. I said it. I
didn't realize this was going to be so edgy this morning.
I said it.
Boy, you got it out there.
I believe that Melania Trump is better looking. I know. Please, I'm waiting for the phone lines to light up, 732-505-1160. We can discuss that if you feel differently, if you feel like Heidi, if you really see the inner beauty and you believe that, that I'm right. And again, listen, obviously beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I personally live that every day of my life when I look at my wife, when I go home and say, I can't believe she married me. But again,
I've thought the same thing
about my wife.
Yeah.
Thank you, Father Scott. I appreciate it.
No, she's beautiful.
Yeah, I know, right? But how did that happen, right? Right? How did these things happen?
Well, if we believe marriage is something ordained by God, then with God all things are possible.
Thank you so much.
There you go. There's a little scripture for you in the morning.
Right. So, but I would also say, as beautiful as my wife is, I have never considered putting her picture on Facebook or on Twitter next to someone else's wife and saying my wife is better looking.
That's very good of you.
I think so. I've also never, I have never said that my father could beat up someone else's father. I have never said that. I don't typically make those kind of statements, but then maybe that's why I'm not running for president.
And that's probably a pretty good choice.
Yes. So here we are, and now Ted Cruz is obviously not happy, and obviously Heidi Cruz has stood up and said also that she's not real happy about this, but Ted Cruz has taken the high road. He has taken the high road, and unfortunately, this back and forth banter is really symbolic on a number of levels of this particular presidential nomination race. So I want to talk about that in 1 minute. Be right back.
Make a difference at the Jersey Shore. 732-505-1160. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. We are here with Father Scott. And, the phone lines all of a sudden. You know what, Father Scott, I have to tell you, the number of phone calls I get typically before 6 a.m., I can count them on one hand in the 3 months I've been here, and we have 2 phone calls on the line right now.
Wow.
You are obviously radio gold for me, right? So
well, it is ratings week, right?
So, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing maybe for the next few months. But no, not going to happen.
It's not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
The 4 o'clock thing wasn't really in the cards. All right, so who do we have, Zach?
We have Steve in Toms River.
Steve, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you? I just want to say hi to Father Scott. Wish him a very safe Easter.
Well, thank you very much, Steve.
It's very, very nice to hear your voice this morning, Father Scott.
Thank you. That's great.
Hey, Steve, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, yeah.
So you really don't care how my weekend goes, huh?
Well, I hope you have a good weekend, too, but it's just such a joy to hear. And it was nice of you to put Father Scott on this morning, and I know he had to get up early, but it's a very busy for them. And we see Father Scott from time to time, although we are parishioners of St. Justin's over on Fisher Boulevard. We do enjoy seeing Father Scott. He's got a fantastic personality, and he's done a great wonder at that church in Toms River.
That's very nice, Steve. Thank you.
And have a safe weekend. God bless.
All right. Go to church. I'll see you.
Yes, we will. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Steve. And I think, Father Scott, you said that a little later on we were going to do a side-by-side comparison of St. Joe's versus St. Justin's and why folks should come to St. Joe's, right? No.
No. I will have to take the high road.
You're going to say something like, as long as he goes to a church and does
Exactly.
the right. I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I also never went into into the clergy. Who's on the other line?
We have Janet in Neptune.
Janet in Neptune. Good morning, Janet.
Oh, good morning, and good morning, Father Scott. I'm an old parishioner of yours back at the turn of the century. I won't tell you which century, but from Holy Innocents to Neptune. So I wanted to wish you a very good Friday. And
Well, thank you, Janet. It's great to hear your voice again. Jeremy Janet is an excellent musician and a wonderful artist.
Oh, you are fantastic. Thank you so much, Father.
Yeah. So when was the last time? Wait a second now. When was the last time that you saw Janet?
The last time I saw Janet, Janet, what was it about? I don't think I had come to Toms River yet, so it's at least 4 or 5 years ago.
But it was about 4 or 5 years ago, exactly, Father.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say you've had more than one Janet in your in.
There's more than a few Janets in our
But you
parish.
remember Janet from Neptune, and you can speak to her talents, her musical abilities. That's impressive.
Well, a shepherd knows his sheep, I think, is to give you more scripture. That's what we try to do, and it's there's a lot of folks in our parishes, but some of them stick out. And Janet was always a great joy to work with, and we did some wonderful things there at Holy Innocents, Janet.
Father, that's great to hear your voice this morning. Just by chance, I'm up and listening, so it's terrific, Father.
That's great. Well, I wish you well, Janet, and have a blessed Easter.
Thank you, Father. Same to you, for sure, and all of your parishioners. They're very lucky to have you.
Thank you so much for calling, Janet.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, take
Good
care.
morning.
Bye. Wow, listen. So Janet from Neptune, that's good. We like when we get Monmouth County callers, by the way, because
I was going to say that's not the planet Neptune.
By the way, let me tell you, I shouldn't say this out loud, but my boss likes to know when people call from other counties because he thinks like we're reaching farther. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you could maybe, just when you send me the email that you'll probably send me that I'll write for you that says thank you so much, thank you so much for having me on. If you could say it was great that we got phone calls from across the state.
Yes.
I'll put that in. If you could just maybe put some kind of stamp or something.
This could be the start of something
I'm
big.
telling you, this could be. Well, listen, we have 2 more hours of this. And I have the sense that it's going to be the Father Scott fan club. It's going to be a parade of folks that have been positively impacted by Father Scott, probably more positively impacted than they have been by the GOP candidates so far this year. But we'll talk more about that in between callers. Father Scott, St. Joe's, and Donovan Catholic. Be right back after the news.
Coming up next, the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from Town Square Towers, at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 6:08 on Good Friday, March 25th. 59 degrees right now, getting up to 72. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio, streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 if you want to join the conversation. We are joined by Father Scott, St. Joseph's here in Toms River, and of course we have St. Joe's grade school. You have Donovan Catholic. You got a lot going on, Father Scott.
Yeah, St. Joe's is a great parish. You know, we've been here in Toms River for 133 years.
Wow.
And we started out about a block from here.
Really?
Downtown, over by the museum.
Okay,
over there. And that was that way for a number of decades. And then in the 50s, I believe, we moved up out of town. As it were. We moved up to that. There was a farm there and a wooded property there on Hooper Avenue. And, so 130 plus years.
So you moved just like everyone else to be closer to the mall. Right, that's what the folks downtown would tell you. That's so actually St. Joseph's was kind of pioneers of understanding that moving closer to Hooper Avenue and away from downtown might be the way to go. Interesting,
exactly.
Interesting parallel there. So Father Scott, when did you arrive at St. Joseph's?
Well, this is not my first rodeo, as it were. When I was first ordained in December of 1989. I arrived. It was a fateful day, December 15th, 1989, is when I arrived, and I came here to work with Monsignor Casimir Ledzinski, Monsignor Casey. A lot of people remember him, and Father Stan Christen, and Father Pete Johnson had just died. I was a newly ordained, and they sent me down here, and I was here for almost 5 years.
Okay,
and then I went off to other places. Mercer County, then over to Neptune. We had the caller from Neptune. I was pastor in Neptune. Then I spent 12 years in Jackson as pastor of St. Aloysius and St. Monica's churches. And now I've been here just about 4 years. So I came back to the scene of the crime, and they made me pastor this time here.
Now, how does it work? How do you end up back here? I don't know. I don't know how that whole thing. Are you reassigned?
I had to pay the bishop a lot. No. What happens with us is the bishop and the personnel director for the diocese, they're always on top of what's happening in different parishes and who's doing what and where. They look at our strengths and our weaknesses, what kind of skill set we have, and then they try to make the assignments that are going to work the best for the people, as well as the individual, the priest that they send there. So Bishop contacted me in January or February back in 2012 and asked if I was ready. I had been 12 years at St. Al's in Jackson, and usually 12 now is kind of the max. So he called me up and he said, Scott, I'd like to send you back to St. Joseph's. And what do you think about that? So he gave me a few days to think about it, and didn't put any pressure on me. So I prayed about it. I mean, I loved my time at St. Al's and St. Monica's, but your first parish kind of always has a special place in your heart.
Right.
And so I said yes, and came back to St. Joe's very happily.
So are you saying to me then that, because you said you've been here for 5 years or something like that?
Yeah,
right?
I'm in my fourth year now.
Okay, fourth year. So does that? I'm a good listener, obviously. Clearly,
yes. I saw the glazed look in your eye.
Was I drooling also? Because I don't know. Sometimes I just wipe it up before it even hits the. Anyway, so 4 years. So are you saying to me that in 8 years or so, no matter how great a job you're doing, right? Somebody could say, well, okay, it's time to, we're going to move you now to somewhere else. Could that happen?
Well, to quote from Porgy and Bess, it ain't necessarily so.
Gotcha.
Okay. Our bishop is not locked into policy and everything. A lot of times, if it ain't broke,
sure,
don't fix it.
Right.
So who knows? I mean, I might not even be alive then, but
that's horrible.
No, I don't want to get morbid.
Let's not do that. We're trying to hold on to listeners. And there's a show before us, by the way, as Zach can tell you, that does the overnights, which is like a syndicated show, coast to coast. That's what they would talk about because they're into the occult and the
lovely.
It's a very supernatural. It's a very strange show, but we don't do that here. We're very positive. So that's pretty cool. So here you are, and you said that you have 200 folks that work on the St. Joe's in the St. Joe's family.
Yeah, it's kind of a big number when you look at it, no matter how you look at it. Now, they're not all full-time employees, but with having a high school, a grade school, a cemetery, a big cemetery, and an office staff to keep all this going, plus workers in the church, and it's a big operation.
Right, and the cemetery is growing. I mean, I find that very rarely do cemeteries contract.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, it's a growth business. It's not. Yeah, you don't. Anyway.
And we have the cemetery out there with 2 mausoleums, and we're going to have to be looking at building another mausoleum somewhere in the future. We do have the space for it.
Okay, so when we come back, I would love for you to kind of, Zach and I have done our best. Zach, when we can maybe Father, you could talk to Zach because I'm not sure that Zach has exactly found his way religiously just yet. I mean, he's anyway, but that's.
Well, how long's the break? I don't know how long the confessions are going to take.
You're not. Listen. So first of all, this is radio, so we would never do that in the break. We would do that like on the air. That would be great.
Oh,
just put me on the spot.
Right. It would be fabulous. But what I'd really like to do, so Zach and I have tried our best to portray Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and kind of Easter in general. But I believe, and again, just like I made the statement about Melania, that I believe she may be a little better looking than Heidi Cruz. I'm also going to go out on a limb and say that you may be positioned better to speak on the real meaning of this weekend. So let's do that when we get back. Father Scott Shaffer.
All right.
Everything you need to know about the Jersey Shore. This is Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Get up, get out, do something. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin continues. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. 6:20. It's Good Friday. Good Friday, and of course, when I think of Good Friday, and I thought of, gosh, who should I have with me on Good Friday? There was only really one person that came to mind. He obviously wasn't available, so instead we have Father Scott here from. That's not right.
That's fine. Turnabouts, paybacks, and all that stuff. Yeah,
that's true. So, Father Scott, why don't you, kind of take us through the progression? Because I'd really like to get an understanding of the whole lead up, and then culmination of what Sunday means.
That's great.
Why don't you take us through?
Sure. Well, almost 40 days ago, we started this season called Lent, and it starts on Ash Wednesday. And it's one of the 2 penitential seasons of the liturgical year. And it's really the time where our people are called to look at what we believe and to look at the life of the center of our faith, who was Jesus Christ. So during Lent, we're called to do acts of penance and to do works of charity. and to work in a way that we try to really put on Christ in our own personalities. So we make our way through Lent, and we come to where we are now. Yesterday was Holy Thursday. Some religions, some Christian denominations will call it Maundy Thursday. But Holy Thursday for us is a celebration of the institution of the Eucharist at the Last Supper and also the priesthood. So one of the great things that a lot of people look forward to for the service on Holy Thursday, the Mass of the Lord's Supper, is that after the homily, after the sermon, if you will, the priest will step down and 12 chairs will be placed in the sanctuary, and there'll be 12 folks that are parishioners. And the priest will get down on his knees and wash the feet of those people, just the way Jesus did in the gospel on that night that he was eventually betrayed. So we remember that, and we also celebrate the Eucharist, because at that Last Supper, Jesus took the bread, as was, Jeremy, you know this, with a Seder dinner. Mm-hmm. Whoever's leading the prayer, the dinner, they take the bread and they say the blessing, thanking God, blessed be God for this bread that we have, and you bless it and you break it and you share it. The difference with Christianity is that Jesus, who was a Jew, takes the bread and he changes the course of history by saying, take this and eat it, this is my body. And uses the words for flesh, muscle, body. This is my body, take and eat. And then the cup of wine, he says, take and drink. This is the cup of my blood. Would have blown the minds of the disciples, but, a lot of things Jesus did was very countercultural. So Holy Thursday is, it was for the disciples, the example that they should go and do the same. In essence, they should serve the needs of the people. So then Jesus gets arrested that night, and he's taken to Caiaphas' house, the high priest. He's kept there overnight. Then he's brought before Pontius Pilate the next day. We know how the story goes. So on Good Friday, a lot of times people say, why do you call it Good Friday?
Right.
Well, in God's plan, it's good because it was a necessary thing to happen. Jesus had to die so that he could rise. So we say Good Friday, that the Son of God, the Son of Man, would take on all of our sin. It would be nailed to the cross. He would die that horrible death. And, a lot of times when I'm preaching funerals, I'll say to people, as we look at the crucifix, that we can't think that God doesn't know what we're going through when we lose someone that we love and someone that we care about. Or if someone's been sick or suffering, I say, Jesus has been there. He's got sometimes I could be flip, I don't say this, but, he's got the T-shirt,
Right.
But that Jesus had been there, he knows. So we can't say, nobody understands me, because he's been there before. He knows what it's like to be betrayed. He knows what it's like to lose a friend. He knows what it's like to go all through that. So that's Good Friday. And Good Friday, we have a service at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, at which we read the readings, we bring the cross in, and we venerate that. It's not a sign of defeat. Rather, it's an instrument through which salvation comes to the world. And it's a beautiful, beautiful service. It's not a regular Mass. And then on Saturday, Holy Saturday, we have no Mass, no regularly scheduled Mass until 8 o'clock at night. And that's the biggie. That's the grand Mass of the whole year.
Right.
A lot of times people think, well, Christmas is the where it all started. Well, yeah, it started there, but Christianity didn't start really until the resurrection event. So the vigil is the night that we keep watch. We start with a fire outside. Don't get excited, but it's a holy fire. And we have a huge candle that is called the Paschal candle, or the Easter candle. And we light the fire, and we bless the candle, and we light that candle.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to stop you here for a second, because I will never again in my life have this opportunity. Okay, and I want to.
But to stop a priest once he starts talking.
I'm going to stop a priest, but more importantly, this is the really great part. I am going to tease out how the story of Easter finishes, right, on Sunday, right? This is exciting. I've never thought I would get to tease out with a priest what happens on. I mean, this is like, seriously, as a Jew, this is like a life highlight at this moment, right? So we are here with Father Scott Shaffer, St. Joe's. We got to like Saturday evening. We still got to talk about Easter Sunday, right? And you're going to stay tuned after the break because I know you want to know how this all ends, all right? Father Scott, be right back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin.
The news never stops at WOBMAM.com. Get the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. It is 6:34 on Good Friday, March 25th. 59 degrees, heading up to 72 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310, News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. If you want to call in, feel free to say hello to Father Scott, to wish him joyous Easter, however you want to do it, whatever that looks like. So I want to recap. I want to recap kind of where we are, right? So we've gone through Lent. We've gone through Holy Thursday. We touched on Ash Wednesday. We passed through Good Friday. By the way, Father Scott is mouthing to me each of the events in case I've completely lost it because I don't know. But I appreciate the support though. So anyway, we got to Saturday, and basically, what I got is that we pretty much have the day off until 8 o'clock, and it's time to really kind of deliver the big one, right? We light a fire, and we deliver. Really the big sermon, right?
I'm glad to see that you were listening. That's great.
I do have a question though. So the Holy Thursday. So you wash feet.
We do.
So let me ask you.
No scrub brush or anything like that.
I'm just asking. So have you ever been? Now so we do. You do have something in common with my grandfather. My grandfather used to run Phillips Shoe Store. He owned Phillips Shoe Store.
Oh.
In downtown Toms River.
All right.
Where St. Joseph's used to be, right? Before they moved closer to the mall.
Now, was he in competition with Purpureye?
He was. He was.
Boy.
In fact, Purpureye was like five doors down,
right?
6 doors down, because my grandfather was right next to Tommy's restaurant.
Right. Champagne room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And we know what doesn't happen in the champagne room, but you wouldn't know. That's just me talking. If any of my listeners know, then you probably need to listen more closely to Father Scott. Anyway, so my grandfather did, and I always used to say to my grandfather, are you ever, like, you're putting people's shoes on their feet and you are handling feet all day. Have you ever been just like completely repulsed by the whole process?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at your face as you're talking about this, your body language, just saying, I get skeeved out by feet, feet.
Yeah, there's something, look, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some incredibly nice feet. It's not like a thing of mine or anything, but have you ever...
You put yourself in the corner here.
I know. Have you ever been like washing feet and you're like, maybe
no. No. It's what's wonderful too. We ask the 12 people who are going to come forward, and they're very good. They come in, the feet have been washed and manicured and whatever you do to feet, moisturized and all that kind of stuff. So there's no issues that way.
So you like pre-interview. Right, so
well, we ask them ahead of time.
There's a screening process for the appropriate
We don't
feet.
ask them to take their shoes off.
Well, you don't ask for
pre-screen.
pictures. Maybe they could share their Instagram feed with you or something.
The selfies of their feet.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm looking at. Look, it's 2016 for goodness sake. You think that we'd be able to streamline this process through social media on some level. All right. Anyway, but I digress. Okay, so we've gotten to Saturday.
Okay, here we are. We're
Saturday,
and the service has to take place after sundown.
Right.
Something we have in common, right?
Right.
So it's dark, and we light a fire outside, and we light from that fire we light the candle, the Christ candle, the Easter candle, and that's brought into the church, and everyone has been given a candle of their own. And they pass the light from the Christ candle because we say Jesus was the light of the world. And it's really beautiful. All the lights are out in the church, and this candle, the light from that candle, spreads throughout the whole church. And it's a lengthy service. It's 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
We come in and we sing. There's an ancient chant called the Exultet. And then we have all the different readings from that kind of outline salvation history. And we make our way all the way through. And then what has been happening for 2,000 years is that's the prime night for baptism. And so this year, like St. Joseph's, we have 12 individuals being baptized. And they are ranging in ages from, adolescence to up in their 50s or 60s. And then a number more, we will be offering the sacraments of confirmation and Holy Communion. This vigil is the night that we are waiting while Jesus is in the tomb.
Okay.
And then, of course, Easter Sunday is the day that we say Alleluia,
okay.
And He is risen. And yeah.
All right, good. So we're going to dig into Easter Sunday in 1 second. That sounds odd.
No.
We don't dig.
No, we roll away
we're
the
not
tomb.
digging.
Roll away the
stone.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of double entendres there. So we do have a phone call. Who do we have,
Yes,
Zach?
we do. We have Tom in Tom's River right now.
Tom in Tom's River. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Jeremy, and good morning, Father Scott. Happy Easter. See you on Sunday.
Well, thank you, Tom. How are you this morning?
Very good. Just driving along on the parkway this morning.
Oh. Were you coming home from work?
No, actually going to a doctor's appointment.
Yep, on Good Friday. Oh.
On Good Friday.
Yeah, well, I hope it's a good doctor's appointment.
Must be a Jewish doctor, obviously.
Yeah. Well, Tom, are you one of my parishioners?
Yes, I know you since 1989. I'm probably one of the tallest people in the church. You know who I am.
All right, I got you. Very good.
I say my daughter went to Donovan Catholic, and it would be this current time, but she graduated from Monsignor Donovan actually.
Yeah, and she's doing great, and I'm really glad to hear from you, Tom.
Hey,
Thank you.
Hey, Tom, let me ask you a question. Tom, how tall are you?
6'6".
Tom, do you sit in the back or do you sit in front? And do you know that people are having to look around you the whole service?
No, Tom's usually in the back.
Oh,
yeah.
well, that's very kind.
Yeah, he's
Tom,
very thoughtful. He's a great guy.
You are a thoughtful man, Tom. Great job, and we hope you have a joyous Easter weekend. Okay?
Yeah. Well, one other thing I was going to say, I'm in the back like we were when we were over in the grade school when the church was in the grade school. Father Scott remembers those days.
I do. Yeah.
You still, I think that's the tradition that still goes on from there. But everybody's still in the back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, Tom. Well, be safe on the road, and God bless you. I'll see you in church.
Yep. Okay. God bless.
All right. Take
all
care. That's really great. I think it's important that we cover the big issues here. I mean, one of my pet peeves is when you have somebody who's 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and then they go sit in the second row. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's
yeah. It's funny when I was a little guy, women were still That's a fat joke, I know.
Yeah.
Good,
No,
great.
no,
Thank
I
you.
didn't.
No,
Come
but
on,
when I was a
that's
little
wrong.
guy, I remember going to church, and back then ladies had to wear hats or they had to cover their head, right? So, of course, typical, the reason was they were not supposed to be distracting with their crowning glory, with their beautiful hairdos. So what do? They end up spending all this money on these fancy hats. And I remember as a little boy, the ladies in front with the real wide rim hat and the big feathers and all that kind of stuff. It was a diversion.
I know. It's well, listen, the good news is we still haven't completely covered Easter Sunday. And we have a break, so I can even tease out Easter Sunday a second time. This is like the show that keeps on giving for me. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, back with Father Scott after this.
The Sean Hannity Show, this afternoon at 3. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin returns next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Connect with Jeremy, 732-505-1160. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. And we are here with Father Scott, St. Joe's Parish, Donovan Catholic, St. Joe's Elementary School. We have a great kindergarten program there, which we were just talking about.
It's a great place.
Yeah, it's a great place. And, I think if you're hearing Father Scott, I mean, listen, I don't want to come out and, just throw my considerable support behind one, member of the clergy or another. But, anyway, I think without saying it, I've said it. You know what I mean? I think it's more classy that way. And I'm feeling classy because I've been following, the primaries, the GOP primaries. And so I definitely feel like I feel classier than I've ever felt, actually. Okay, so we've worked our way through the progression towards Easter. We've now we're on Easter Sunday, right? We've done all this work. We've given up meat, right? We've washed feet.
That's right.
I'm trying to rhyme something with meat and feet. I got nothing.
Yeah, it can't be beat.
It can't be beat, right? So now here we are on Easter Sunday, and bring us home, Father Scott.
Well, Easter Sunday, like I said before, this is the reason that there is Christianity, because Christ was raised from the dead. He appeared to his apostles and his disciples, and then he set them on mission. And their mission was to go and tell the good news, to baptize, and it was early on in the history of our faith. It was called the Way. It was a new way of living for not only for Jews who had adopted this and come to believe, but also for the Gentiles. And that infant church started, and from there we have what we have today. And it's great. And this time of the year, every year we look forward. I know all the priests that I know, we look forward to this sacred Triduum, as I mentioned, and Easter Sunday, because it's right at the core of all that we believe.
And then, so then you kind of feel like once maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but so now that you've gotten through Easter, right? And I'm like fast forwarding to Monday, right? Like, is there like a big meeting where all of the priests get together and like, let's go grab a beer and let's talk about how we're pretty much clear until December?
No. But it is funny. A lot of priests on Holy Thursday will get together in the afternoon or early evening and that's what my two associates and I did. Father Jerome and Father Carlos and I went out last night at 5 o'clock for an early dinner. And we shared that time. It was great. The restaurant was almost empty at that time. And we sat, we talked, we kind of took stock on where we were. Father Carlos is in his third full year of priesthood, and Father Jerome is in his second year of priesthood, and I've got 26 years, Right. So it was wonderful for us to be able to sit, share, and talk, about this life that we love.
So on Monday, are you or Sunday night even when you're back, are you like, are you relieved? Are you invigorated? Are you how does it feel? I guess the only way I can liken it is having spent 20 years in retail. you go through Black Friday, right? And the next day it's like, whoo.
That's a great question. It really is, because we gear up for these big liturgies on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and then of course Easter Sunday, and everybody and their mother shows up, and it's really it's wonderful. Then what do you do after that? Well, there's a certain collective sigh of oh gosh, we made it,
Right.
But then I know from me, last night at the end of the liturgy, I said we had about 20 altar servers that were helping out last night. Everything, when we do these big liturgies, it's very involved. There's a lot of different things happen. And I said to the kids last night, I said, this was, I was on a high after it, because it worked, and you could feel the spirit, and it was really... It was great. So then what do you do on Easter Monday? Well, we celebrate that Easter for... the season of Easter goes all the way to Pentecost, which is 50 days later.
Wow.
So we talk about the resurrection, the Alleluia, and all that kind of stuff.
So it doesn't really end. It's not like it's it's just beginning.
No, but every day is a new day, and God shows us all good things.
That's good. All right, so when we come back, right, in a minute, I do want to talk about the mechanics of putting together a sermon, because I think that's really interesting. We're going to talk. We're all morning we're spending with Father Scott. This is great. Best Good Friday I've probably ever had already, and it's only 6:52. Be right back.
Now, back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. So this is where like I want to get a little bit into the weeds here, right? Because I want to pull back the curtain. I want to get behind the scenes. I know. It's frightening.
No one gets in to see the wizard. No way, no how.
So and Zach just gave me that. Now, see, let me tell you something, Father Scott. This is where you asked me how, like, if this is difficult to do every morning. This is where it's difficult, because I have this topic that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the mechanics of building a sermon, right? And I'm excited about this. And I'm all into it. I'm about to launch into the question. I'm doing the build-up. I got it going on. I'm ready. Here we go. And then Zach puts up the fingers and say, I only got 2 minutes.
Oh.
So now I'm forced with a decision to say, do I ask the question now and then kind of shorten your answer, right? And have you kind of give me kind of half an answer, and it's really not what I was looking for, right? But I have other content that I want to get to this morning. Or do I do what I'm doing now, which is filling time until we get to the top of the hour where I can tease out the whole sermon thing for next hour? And so it's clear what I've decided to do, isn't it?
I think so. It's patently clear.
Yes. So this is where I say to you, see, it's only my 3rd month, but I feel like I've kind of developed, I've developed some little bit of game here where we could tease out that as we start the next hour, I want to hear what it takes to build a sermon. I want to know what website you go to. What's the sermonsareus.com. What do you do? There's so much to learn about this. Father Scott, St. Joe's, Donovan Catholic, St. Joe's, there's schools, there's so many things going on. And it's Easter, it's game time. We'll be right back. Father Scott, Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin.
The news is next. Live from the WOBM Newsroom, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center, overlooking the Toms River. It's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. It is 7:08. 7:08. And to Father Scott's credit, the first yawn of the morning came at 7:08.
Good morning.
Right, that's good. That's not bad. 2 hours into your after your arrivals. That's good. That's good.
I never knew that people actually got up and worked this early.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I tell people, and I've said this before, I tell people that say to me, why you get up at 4 a.m. to do a show Monday through Friday, and I say, listen, there was a time in my life when I lived up north and had a different job, hadn't come back home, wasn't working with the family. And my wife was at home raising our children. And so she didn't work for the first 10 years of that we had children because, it didn't make sense.
Sure.
We were very committed to, having someone home for the kids, and that was our priority. And so I worked and did okay. But also there was a time when I was throwing newspapers, right, that I would get up every morning and I would go into the Star-Ledger and I would stuff newspapers with all the advertising, load up my car with 200 newspapers.
Oh my!
And drive around at the time Old Bridge and throw newspapers. And I did that for like 9 months because we needed to pay bills, right? And that's just what So look, I know there are some people who have an opinion, preconceived notion of me and what I do, but it wasn't always like that for me. And so I went through that. Anyway, but the moral of my story was this is not throwing newspapers, right? I get I get to sit here from 5:30 to 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, talk to interesting people, talk to folks throughout Ocean County, do what I like to do, which is talk, make jokes, have fun. And so this is not that bad.
That's right? A great gig.
So. All right, so talking about great gigs, all right? So I am very interested because, I have to write a lot of speeches, for me, but usually they're a couple minutes, and I'm not going to lie, our messaging usually cycles for for a few months, and then we tweak the message because we're on to a different program or something else, and I could probably recite those messages in my sleep.
Oh yeah,
right. For you have to be original and topical every time you stand up in front of your congregation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does that process look like? So what does it look like when you're getting ready for I guess tomorrow's the big one, right?
Well, yeah. Everyone is a big one, if you will, when we're talking about the Sunday Mass.
Right.
But it's an interesting process. We call that talk a homily. Our Protestant brothers and sisters, Christian brothers and sisters, will call it oftentimes a sermon. But in fact, when I was in the military, I was with the chaplain's corps for a little while, and some of my Protestant brothers would say, they say, "Oh yeah, you guys have homilies. We call them sermonettes for Christianettes." But a homily is supposed to be conversational in tone, and it's not necessarily like an exhaustive treatment of a topic and an exposition of all these different things. The big thing about the homily is that we try to take a message from the Scriptures and somehow relate it, make it relevant to the life situation of those people that are in the congregation.
Right.
Not always an easy task, but with God's grace and help and work and research and study, hopefully that happens. The big thing, I think, is that it's important for whoever is giving the homily to know their congregation. And also to have an understanding of what that journey is, that life is. We can't, if we're always idealizing everything and we're up and pie in the sky and, we're not understanding that, there's Joe Smith, he's sitting out in the congregation and he's working 2 jobs and they've got 3 kids and they're wondering, what's this gospel thing have to do with me? Right. And, I find that the people that are coming to church, they want to know. There's a hunger. Mm-hmm. And, as a homilist, as a preacher, I pray always to be open to the Holy Spirit. And, thankfully, people have responded many, many times, and I think this is the way with a lot of priests, where people will say, Father, today it felt like you were talking right to me. And I can't claim credit for that. I really do believe in God's grace, that God gives us certain insights and abilities to make it happen. What are the mechanics of it? One of the great things is called Lectio Divina, where you read the Scripture out loud to yourself, but out loud.
Okay.
You listen to it, what resonates. Then you ask yourself, you pick out one or two phrases or words, and then you go again and you read it again. And what happens is you kind of get led into what needs to be said, what needs to be explored. And then the technical aspect of it, you want to kind of have a hook.
Right.
I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
And you don't want to give people 10 different points. I mean, God did that with the 10 Commandments, but let's be for real. In today's world, 1, 2, maybe 3 points in a homily is really where that should be our target, But I find maybe one idea or 2 ideas, something that when the people get done hearing it and they leave the church, they said, oh, yeah, Father talked about, boom. And they can recite whatever it was, or whatever the governing statement
in 140 characters or less.
Yeah. That would be a good litmus test on whether or not the message gets through.
Can I tweet the message that
I
just gave?
I love it. That's great.
So let's listen again. Just us girls talking, right? It's just you and me, right? It's just there's nobody else here,
right?
I maybe okay. So Zach's with us, but he's behind you. You don't even know he's here, and we, by the way, we still have yet to take Zach's confession today, or to kind of work on.
We
Zach.
still have time, though.
We do,
right?
but
yeah.
but it's moving quickly here. It's moving quickly. My question is, it's 26 years, right?
Yes.
Do you keep all of your homilies? You understand. Wait, hold on. Before you answer that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but understand, you're a very smart man. You know where I'm going to go with the follow-up question. So now now you can continue with your answer. Go ahead.
Okay. I have to tell you, I work a little differently from a lot of folks, and maybe I didn't take the classes the right way in the seminary, but my grandparents' funerals and my mom and dad's funerals, I wrote the homily.
Right.
Apart from that, if I've written 5 other homilies in my life and written them down or typed them out, that's a lot. So
you're just kind of riffing. You're just kind of like...
A lot of times people might think that because of the way I...
But you've built thoughts, and you've got...
Oh, in my head, I have an outline. I always have an outline of what I want to say, and usually what I'm going to open with, and how I'm going to hopefully tie it up. But, yeah.
So there's no pulling out like 1992 and going, I really nailed this homily. I'm going to use this again, but of course we're in Tom's River now, and
so you change the names of the places.
Yeah, but to protect the innocent and the guilty. But no, you're
now.
There's
a few times that you know that something really worked and resonated.
Right. Sure.
So of course you're not going to get rid of that. You know.
You have some go-to, like there's some things. There are some conceptually. There's some things that were strong for you in the past.
And the cycle of readings in our church is it is a cycle. So every couple of years, they do repeat themselves and stuff. But yeah, to try to stay fresh, because face it, in this world, we just talked about tweeting, right?
Right.
In this world, people's attention spans, they want a soundbite. They want something. I don't want to cheapen it like that, but they do want something that they can appropriate to themselves, and not have it be a like what I'm saying right now. I'm going for too long, but they don't want it to be a really lengthy kind of a discourse.
Yeah.
They want to say, okay, Jesus did this, and how does that hit me?
Right, and how does it change what I'm going to be doing going forward for the next week until
Yeah,
so how are you going to make an impact?
And I think most people want to be better. I think most people want to develop this relationship, however they see it, with God. And if we can help point the way, we're ahead of the game.
Good stuff. We are here with Father Scott, St. Joe's Monsignor Donovan. Sorry, Donovan Catholic. I apologize.
Say 3 Hail Marys.
It took me 2 hours to make that mistake too. Anyway, we'll be right back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin.
Stay tuned for Preferred Company with Joel Markell and Marianne Levy at 8. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin continues next. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Make a difference at the Jersey Shore. 732-505-1160. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160, 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. And, Father Scott alluded to earlier in the show that our one of our first interactions, and I didn't want to correct him, but I think actually the first time we met was when you spoke at the sculpture unveiling on Route 37. And I think that was the first time we met, and then it was like 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later that we were at the OCC commencement, and we're like, we got to stop running into each other. And then we ran into each other again, right? Because I was a judge at the Caregivers Dancing with the Stars event.
Oh, yeah.
That you and Joanne from Donovan dominated.
Well, we took home the mirror ball.
Right.
We had a great time. That's a great event. It's happening again, obviously. You know that.
Yeah.
That's going to be in May 14th. Out at Eagle Ridge. And, Caregiver Volunteers is really it's a wonderful ministry, and they do such great things with people. I love their mission. It's to live in a world where the elderly are cared for and honored. I just think that's very noble, that they do that. But to help raise money, they have this event, the Dancing with the Stars, and I'm not dancing this year, but my partner and I have been asked to be judges.
Yes.
And we're pretty excited about it. We're also hoping, now I might have to recuse myself, but there's another couple from the St. Joseph's community that's going to be competing. And but the dancers are going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I know that actually Tara Cunningham, who is who works with me at the foundation. Tara is dancing with Jim Buffum, do you know Jim?
I know Jim
Jim is the former chair of the YMCA, now the chair of the Toms River Country Club,
right?
And all around great guy. And I warned Jim. I tried to warn him because not only will he have to deal with Tara for long periods of time, which is great, but he's also put himself in clear and obvious physical danger, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because, Tara is one of those girls who, falls walking up the steps, right? And so I can only imagine, what horrible fate will befall Jim Buffum's feet, legs.
Well, if it's anything like last year's event, it's just a feel-good evening.
Yes,
there's a lot of fun and laughter and some good dancing and some
good
challenge.
Dancing.
Yeah, some good dancing. Yeah.
Listen, anybody who's seen my video of me dancing at the Girl Scouts knows what's in store at these events, and actually, bad dancing is more entertaining at times than good dancing. So it's but it's all for a good cause. And so that's Caregivers, which, by the way, I'm giving the keynote this year for their volunteer appreciation. So
okay. That's over at the Methodist Church, right?
They've really sunk to new depths. We're rounding third base and heading for home. By the way, 7:45, Dana Lancelotti's calling in from the county to talk about what to do this weekend, besides obviously going to church, because maybe there's something else to do in addition to going to church. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, back with Father Scott right after this.
Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Usually I make my guests go through a half hour or so of the show where they have to actually talk to me about, whatever I want to talk about. And then I give them a few minutes to plug whatever they want to plug. That's how I kind of work it. But in Father Scott's case, I really put him through the ringer, and I made him. He's had to do 2 hours this morning just so we can get to a couple of highlights of things going on over at St. Joe's and Donovan. But we do have a caller first, so we're going to hold that thought for 1 second. So who do we have?
We have for Rabbi, we have Ellen on the line.
Oh, look at this. Good morning.
Good morning. Better known to you as Rabbi Ellen Wollensfield.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning,
I'm
Rabbi.
Good morning. I miss you, Father Scott.
Thank you.
And I wanted to wish you a wonderful and meaningful and inspirational Easter, as I know that you will bring that to your community, as you always do.
Thank you so much. And Jeremy and I were just talking about Passover and the dates for Passover. It's a little bit late this year.
It is. So if you want to come to our community Seder, Friday night, April 22nd, be my guest.
There you go. There you go. That's wonderful.
And also, what time do you have services on Sunday morning?
Sunday morning, we are at 7:30, 9, 10:30, and 12 noon.
Oh, that's great.
Look at all those choices.
All those choices.
Is there a difference between them? Or there?
Oh, well, there's different presiders, different priests at each one.
Is there like a schedule up where we know which priest? Like, could we pick the presider, as it were?
Oh, you'd have to show up to church, Jeremy, and then we'll figure that out after
That's a
that.
big shell game over there. I see how it is now.
Well, which one are you presiding at?
Actually, I'm presiding at the 8 o'clock vigil the night before and the 12 noon on Easter Sunday.
Okay. Maybe I'll bring my children so that they can learn about their neighbors.
That's great. That's great.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Rabbi. And we will see you. Is today Friday? Oh yeah, we'll see you tonight.
It's Good Friday.
That's Good Friday. I forgot all about that. Thank you again for calling in.
Nice talking
Thank
to you, Rabbi.
Have a good day and a wonderful Easter.
All right, thank you, dear.
Thanks. Bye.
Who do we have? We have another caller?
Yes, we have Jim on the line.
Jim, what's going on?
Jeremy, what's going on?
Oh, is this Jim Buffum?
This is Jim Buffum. How are you guys this morning?
Were your spider senses tingling as I was feeling bad? I was feeling concerned for your physical well-being.
Well, I go to this meeting up at Eagle Ridge, and it's a beautiful place. And if you can make it to this event on May 14th up there for the caregivers, it would be outstanding. Because Tara and I get there, and you guys know about the body lines of dancers. You watch Dancing with the Stars on TV, and they go, oh, look at those lines. Well, none of the three of us have what they would call lines.
I have bulges, yeah.
I mean, we're not svelte. We're not 6'2" and weigh 140 pounds and have 30-inch waists. So our competitors, Tara Cunningham, the lovely Tara Cunningham, the light-footed Tara Cunningham.
Oh, yes, very light-footed, yes.
And twinkle-toed Tara Cunningham. Look at these other dancers, and they're all 6 feet tall and weigh 100 pounds.
Well,
so we knew we were in trouble.
Jim, let me just tell you, and if you've been following the Republican nomination process, as I know you have been, you're fortunate because this is the year that we are eliminating the lines. So don't worry about it.
So there are no lines this year.
No,
I hear that
lines
from
are
the
gone.
judge?
No more lines. No more lines. We're eliminating the lines.
And Father Scott, don't recuse yourself.
Oh, okay.
Because there will be a clear winner.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
there you go.
Well, I think we have lined up that we are going to have interviews with each of the dance teams here on Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. So there will be much poop talking to be had. I'm sorry, Father Scott. I didn't mean to
Yeah, I was just going to say, anybody that wants to go on and see what it's all about, the website is cvcjdances.com, cvcjdances.com. And if you want to throw a vote for your favorite dance couple, you can do that. And that's for the People's Choice Awards. It's a great thing.
We've launched we'll be launching our internet campaign where we have our own hashtag. It involves WeAreTR.
Wow.
And we're having videos professionally done by Tara's son Ian. Who's like 7 or 11.
Yeah,
or 12
Owen is quite the
okay.
the budding Steven Spielberg. So that should be great.
Yeah, he's quite the techie from what I hear. So that we're going to try to have a lot of fun. We're going to try to have the audience be engaged with our dance, much like they were with Father Scott's last year, with everybody hooting and hollering.
No doubt.
And
it's going to be great, and thanks for everything both of you guys do for the community. It is much appreciated.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. You have a great Easter, okay?
Thanks. Hey, Father Scott, I wish we were coming to the noon Mass on Sunday, but we're going to the Toms River Country Club for Easter brunch.
Oh,
look
there
at
you go.
Thanks for getting a Toms River Country Club
plug in. Yeah.
Great job, Jim.
Yeah, do you want me to put a Garden State Philharmonic in?
You've done your job. You have a great day now.
Thanks, you guys
All right,
too.
bye.
Appreciate your time.
All right.
All right. So, Father Scott, I know we got some things coming up at on your campus. What do we have?
Well, one of the things that we're really excited about this year is that at the grade school, St. Joseph's Grade School, which has been around for one long time, we just keep on growing and keep innovating. We are starting a new pre-K program for 4-year-olds. And if you're interested, please contact us and let us know, and we can find a place for you. We have a couple of other events that are happening. The Fiddler on the Roof is going to be presented April 14th through the 17th at Donovan Catholic. And if you've ever been to any of the productions at Donovan, you know that they're top-notch, and we're very excited about that. So that's Fiddler on the Roof. If you want tickets, you can call to Donovan Catholic, and April 14th through the 17th is when they're happening. Also, last year, Ronan Tynan, he did an interview with Sean and Sue last year. He came and helped us raise money for our food pantry expansion. Well, this year we're bringing down New York Cabaret to St. Joseph's, and a young woman, a jazz singer who has been reviewed by the New York Times. She's outrageous, unbelievable voice. Her name is Gabrielle Stravelli, and she will be at Donovan Catholic on Saturday evening, April 23rd.
Wow.
And the last thing, real quick, Jim mentioned it about the Garden State Philharmonic are coming to St. Joseph's Church, and they're doing a Sunday afternoon concert on May 22nd. The Garden State Philharmonic, they're doing Beethoven's Ninth. It's a huge orchestra and chorus, and it's going to be amazing. That is 1:30, I think, on May 22nd.
Awesome.
And you can contact the Philharmonic for any of those things.
Great. And I know we have a caller on the line. Who do we have?
Yes, we do. We have Chris in Toms River.
Hey, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Father Scott. I just wanted to thank Father Scott for everything he's doing at St. Joseph's Parish, the community. I think some of us would be lost without him some days. That's all. And please, on this Good Friday, pray for Father Tom in Yemen, whose faith is he's up against a lot of not nice people today, so please keep them in your prayers. People all across the world are persecuted because of their faith and because of what they believe and what they stand up for. So
exactly, Chris.
Thanks again, Father Scott.
Thank you, Chris, and God bless you. I'll see you in church.
Yes, you will. Thanks for last night. It was very nice. Take care, guys.
All right.
Take care, Chris. We didn't even touch on that, the abduction in Yemen, but. Yeah, and let's just hope that they were idle threats of go ahead.
With this thing in Yemen, it's a horrible thing. So prayer is what's needed. And the only other thing I would want to say as far as what's going on is that we've talked a lot about Holy Week and Easter, but every day and every Sunday, every weekend, Catholics can always come home. I know that there's a lot of folks out there that might be listening who, for whatever reason, maybe have walked away or have felt pushed out, and our arms are open, and we welcome you back home.
Cool. Be right back. We have Dana Lancelotti from Ocean County Business Development and Tourism talking to us about what else there is to do this weekend, besides, obviously, hanging out with Father Scott. Be right back.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin wherever you go. Download the Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
So let's say you had just been reading Lucifer's Son. Okay, let's just say that, okay? And you were having trouble getting to sleep because you got all these horrible thoughts of Lucifer's Son in your head now. You know what you need to do? You need to get a MyPillow. You need to rest your head on that thing, and you will fall fast asleep. I promise you. Before MyPillow, I used to toss and turn trying to get in just the right position to get rest. I would stack 2 pillows, 3 pillows, 5 pillows, 12 pillows. Then I'd throw all the pillows off of the mattress, and I would just lie on the mattress, and I still couldn't figure out how to sleep. I would wake up with neck pain, with back pain. I was a total mess. And then I discovered MyPillow, and all of those troubles went away. MyPillow works, and if you care about getting a good night's sleep, you need to buy one now. They're so sure that you're going to love it that they offer a 10-year warranty from now until the end of the year and a 4-month money-back guarantee. MyPillow is offering our listeners an unbelievable, amazing holiday deal. Buy one regular MyPillow classic pillow, and listeners will receive 2 classics and 2 go-anywhere pillows. Go to MyPillow.com and scroll down to the Radio Listener Special tab or mention Radio Listener Special when you call 1-800-575-1387 and use promo code Jeremy. That's J-E-R-E-M as in MyPillow, Y. 1-800-575-1387 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Jeremy. Don't lose another night of good sleep. Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We are joined now by Dana Lancelotti, Director of Business Development and Tourism for the County of Ocean. Good morning, Dana.
Good morning, Jeremy, and good morning, Father Scott.
Good morning, Dana.
Great to hear you on the radio this morning, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's no pressure on you, Dana, because now you're going to tell us all the things that we could do this weekend as opposed to going to church. I'm just saying.
No, actually, these are all things you can do after church, and if you maybe go to church in the evening on Saturdays, it does work out well for everybody's schedule. But today, actually tomorrow and Sunday, is the annual ticket sales that everyone looks forward to at the boardwalks. They have their Easter sales on all of the amusement tickets, so both at Casino Pier Breakwater Beach and also at Jenkinson's Boardwalk. The grandparents and parents can go over there and get all their tickets for sale, half price for the coming season, which is awesome for all the kids. And actually, tomorrow, the Easter egg hunt that was supposed to happen, Jeremy, last weekend when we were worried about the weather, that's actually happening in Seaside Heights tomorrow. So that would have been the Palm Sunday Easter egg hunt. They're having it tomorrow on the beach in Seaside Heights.
Cool.
Jenkinson's postponed theirs from last weekend to April 2nd. So next Saturday they will have their Easter egg hunt on the beach.
That seems like it's after Easter, by the way, Dana.
Yes, it does, but
okay,
we'll still be in the
just throwing it out there.
Easter is so early this year that I think everybody's still going to be looking for Easter eggs next
but
weekend.
like I told Jeremy, Easter lasts for 50 days. So
right, so we're good.
That's right. Okay, so also tomorrow, the Easter Extravaganza is happening at Jackson Premium Outlets. They have the Easter Bunny there and Easter sales going on throughout the outlets. On Sunday, Easter Sunday, they have the annual Easter Promenade on the Seaside Heights Boardwalk, where everyone gets dressed up in their best Easter attire. And on Sunday, also, the Easter Parade is at Jenkinson's Boardwalk. So our boardwalks are all full of Easter celebration this weekend. Actually happening a couple of days ago, all the way through April 3rd, is the opening week of Six Flags Great Adventure.
Cool.
So Six Flags is now open and for the season, and they have new things going on there, so everyone can check that out. There is the Atlantic City Ballet performing at the Strand Center for the Arts tomorrow. There's also, tomorrow at Jenkinson's Aquarium, they're celebrating the birthdays of a couple of their harbor seals. So they call it the Sealibration.
I get it. See what they did there?
Yes, very fun. And there are many different performances going on at the Strand Center of the Arts and also the Grunin Center. Next weekend, the Grunin Center has the ABT Studio Company performance. It's a ballet company that's performing there. And also a great comedy performance called A Couple of Blaggards is happening at the Grunin Center for the Arts next weekend. And I wanted to mention, too, that there's a Celebrate Spring happening next weekend at the Seaport. It's a whole celebration. Different locations down there around the Seaport are having special, let's see, there's a Victorian tea drop-in at the Captain's House. There's the opening of Kelly's Oyster House. On Saturday, they have a ribbon cutting of the Jersey Family Fun Kids Quarters and the opening of an art show that's taking place down there. So there's a lot of fun to be had at Tuckerton Seaport next Saturday, April 2nd for spring.
Wow.
That about covers it right now, although there's always other things happening at the museums and different art performances and exhibits and things like that. So please do visit oceancountytourism.com or like us on Facebook for daily events in your feed.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dana, and you have a great Easter weekend, okay?
Absolutely. You too. Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye, Dana.
Take care. Bye-bye, Father.
And Father Scott, we have 1 minute remaining, and I guess folks could always go to stjosephtomsriver.org if they want to learn more about what's happening at St. Joe's.
That's right.
Listen, I want to take an opportunity to thank you so much for spending the last 2.5 hours with me, educating me and our listeners. And like I said in the very beginning of the show, you're one of the folks that I'm just very excited. When you walk into the room, I smile, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be a better day.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. This was I was very nervous about coming in here today, and but excited about it. And it was wonderful to be able to spend this time and share some things with you.
Great. And we want to wish all of our listeners to have a great Easter weekend. Please enjoy it, and please remember what you're there for, and please remember that we are working really, really, really. I think Chris Raymond said it right, that we really don't want to do the right thing for our neighbors and for other folks here at the Jersey Shore. And don't forget to set your alarm clocks for 5:30 a.m. Monday morning. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Have a great weekend. Thanks again, Father Scott.
Coming up next, the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.